And we back, guys. We back.
Hey, hey.
Well, go on. The thing kind of jumped you there still. So we're back for the final dose of the top of the morning, and we're gonna have to finish on a probably a informative note. Parents out there, and for all those people that say they want to go America, do their thing, and take their
You being one
children
of
with
them
them.
in the last chat.
Yes, me being one of them. Me being one of them. So, guys, is America legalizing pedophilia according to this new Senate 145 bill? Based off what we've spoken about, and obviously some information that we've got, would you guys let's actually explain it. Should I
Yeah.
explain it or should Nisi you got some information there?
So basically, the bill that so there's a lot of information going around on social media about California state is legalizing pedophilia. Um, is that the case? Yes and no.
Okay.
It's a very weird bill because I get it in a sense where it's not where two kids, you know how, let's be honest, people are having sex younger now. So two kids are having sex, so one may be done for statutory rape because they're both minors. So I get where it's not. But then at the same time, a 24-year-old does not need to be having sex with a 14-year-old.
Right, and now that's the part that I want to dig into. That gap there.
Yeah,
Doesn't
so
like
what?
But then it's between it's the ages of 14 to 17 is where. So it's not anyone under the age of 14. So that's the 10-year gap. So it's 14-year-old to 24, 17 to 27. So that's where it's iffy. Anything under that is still statutory rape without any more evidence, I guess. But
I mean, what more evidence do you need when you sleep with a 12-year-old girl? It's statutory.
No, but that it's still statutory rape if it's a 12-year-old and a 22-year-old because the 10-year gap is between the ages of 14 and 17. That's the new rule.
So you can't go below a 14-year-old.
You can't go below 13. But it's still weird because what is a 27-year-old doing with a 17-year-old? I think that's weird behavior anyways, personally.
Yeah, of course.
Regardless, because it's like, they're a child still. Like,
Yeah,
I get that people grow up really quickly and stuff like that. But at the same, what do you talk about? And what, I don't know. To me, it's weird.
I think
she can't even get a mortgage. What are you not talking about?
She can't get into the club, but she can't. There's a lot of things you can't do.
You still got to ask her mum to take her on holiday. Rude boy.
You need parental consent for a lot of things, to be fair.
Rude boy.
You're in school.
You've got to ask, fam.
You haven't done GCSEs. They don't do GCSEs.
Nah, man. They're too young for that.
I don't think it should be considered a sexual orientation. I think we moved away from those times. If you look back historically, women were, still in some other countries till today, like women or even young girls are kind of like sworn off to who they're going to marry from young, and usually it's older men. And we came out of that era and we came out of that time in Europe a while ago, and we put in human rights and we put in certain I don't want to say laws because it might be statutory laws. I don't know what type of law it is or legislation, but either way, we put things in place to protect these children. Children, guys, are children, young people, and therefore we need to protect them. Why are we going back? Why are we cycling backwards? It doesn't make sense. You know why we're cycling backwards? Because a lot of these people who are out here making decisions are the same people who really want to be touching up your kids.
Definitely. I still don't understand how, how that bill, all these adults, all these parents, because I have to kind of believe that these government officials are parents, and how they were able to sit there and be like, yeah, cool. Yeah, let's pass this, man. Yeah, 14, 24. Yeah. No dramas. Like, yeah, cool. Like,
It doesn't make
how?
sense.
How
It's
do
like
you?
It
all
How are
the
you? How are you a
people are
father?
trying to brand themselves as well as minor attracted persons. That's the new brand that they're trying to come up with. Rather than being called pedophile.
persons.
Mhm.
Come down here with that on your t-shirt and see what I do to you. I
You
beg
know,
you.
you know what I find crazy is that like why there's different ages for women that are young to consent to sex. Like in England, it's what 16. In France, it's 14. Now in America, it's 14. In other
It's
places,
still 18, but there's the new bill just tweaks it for that 10-year gap.
yeah, but that's madness. And
I don't think it's
and
right.
yeah,
A 14-year-old cannot fathom that, like, as far as I'm concerned, like, unless you've been through some kind of like traumatic experience which has literally made you have to evolve before your time mentally, then a 14-year-old cannot begin to fathom the manipulation that a 24-year-old can lay down. It doesn't make sense.
even just
Yeah.
the chemicals that you go through going through that sexual experience, they're not supposed to be experiencing that at 14.
No. It's
And
just it's twisted.
even
But
taking it further than that, you should be on the list. I should be able to know if you like 14, 15-year-old girls. Because you know what, yeah? You lot are saying that, they're saying now that, oh, they don't need to be on the register. That's the bit that's scary. So I can
yeah.
have a friend who likes 15-year-old girls, yeah? And he's not on the list. Rude boy. And now I don't even have to know.
Are
Rude
you
boy, I
saying
can't even report my man now. I
you
can't
want to know
report
if
my man to
you
the
got a friend
feds.
of Ellie?
I,
You want to know if you got a friend of Ellie, yeah? A
you
friend of Ellie.
go. Man needs to know out here. It's rife out here. It's rife.
Homophile
Oh, what did that say?
research
Research.
homophile. Wow.
Then research who puts money into it.
Oh gosh, guys, it's
And look,
all.
I agree with this here. There's no way orientation. Do you know what I mean? How can liking young girls, 14, 15, 16, whatever, how is that an orientation, fam?
It's not an
Huh.
orientation. It's a
No.
completely perverted preference. That's what it
But
is.
they're trying to change it into an orientation, fam.
Can you say, like, as a person, can you say, like, for example, me, can I say I only date white men because it's my orientation? No,
No,
no, I
that's a
can't say that.
preference.
First and
That's a
foremost, we can unpack that because there's so many things wrong with that statement. So therefore,
Mhm.
you cannot sit down here and say, I like underage minors because it's my orientation. Are you mad? You can't say that. That doesn't even make sense. Why are we trying to legalize this? Okay, fair enough, it's in America and it's in one state in America, but that's where it begins. And Bojo is literally eating out of America's backside. So everything they do historically, we love to lap it up and continue over here, especially now that we're out of the EU as well, and we're coming out of the EU with absolutely
Scary.
no. Exactly, we're not even coming up with no deal, no nothing. The EU gave us a lot of our human rights, you know. So
Yeah,
we
that's
really
what
need
I'm
to, we
saying.
really need to open our eyes and watch this stuff unfold in front of our eyes. We really need to do something about it. Boy.
I'm still in shock that a 25-year-old man can
Mhm.
drive his car and park up at the
Mhm.
school and
Oh,
legally chirps a 15-year-old girl, and he won't be on the sex offenders list. Police won't arrest him.
It's very mad. But you gotta look at
That's
like
what you've got
around
to deep.
you got to look though around us, like why are they pushing this narrative, why do they want this so bad? They like you said, like these men upstairs, like look at the Epstein situation where like all these people that are on this list and then all these little girls that are coming out, like, well, they're women now, but at the time they were little girls talking about it. All these people are into this weird shit. They are weird. But it's not even just the people up there, like look at like in general, like child molestation is high. It's just been such a taboo for like women, young women, and boys and girls to talk about, and then people like will like certain things. You don't talk about that. Shush, 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 shush. You don't take it. So like one of the situations, there's always been a taboo to discuss. Whereas I feel like now we're in a time where people are more like they're speaking about experiences. And it's been highlighted where we're seeing, oh my God, this is happening everywhere. Like, what is it's overwhelming, the amount of madness and nonsense. Yeah, that too. They get a couple of year sentences as well. Like a drug dealer will get given like 14 years and a nonce will get given 2 years.
6 months.
And the thing is, they get protected in there as well. They get protected because they're
special units
as everybody else, because everybody else will mash them up. So they have to be
particular by themselves. Like nonces and rapists just get put in a little corner together, protected, whereas everyone else is in general population together. And then it's just man. They just protect these weird people. Like we need to protect our kids, because then it's
we do.
You know when you have words but don't have words, that's literally like
too much frustration. Too much frustration. My words are knocking up in my stomach and creating this uncomfortable feeling. Hey, makes me want to vomit.
I don't have any words. I'm more in shock that there's this 10-year gap rule. That's really like messing up with my head.
Do you know what? I don't understand how they can try to justify it by saying it's helping LGBTQ plus community.
It's not.
How?
How is it helping? That's the part that I need to understand. How is it helping? Because
like it's literally like
because you're LGBTQ, it doesn't make you a pedophile. So
it's another barrier to LGBT community. They already have their own problems where people.
Do you know what I mean? And you're just adding.
These people are just trying to live their lives and love who they love, and then it's causing them already. And
you're adding it to them.
Fun to our thing.
You're adding it.
You know, why are you adding these lot to us? That's got nothing to do with them. Like, no, it's different.
Completely different.
Unless it's the man them in there that want to do thing with young youths. Because I don't think the women will. I don't think the women want to do that.
No, listen, let's not act like women are like me. I'm not
any sex. It's not
at all. Let's not act like women are saints. Me, I'm pro women and I love women and I'm always supporting women and I love to see women.
Right.
But all the time, they're like, look at like when you speak to young men and be like, oh, how did you lose your virginity? Ask them their story. There's so many men that have said, oh, I was an older woman. And the ages of these women is mad as well. And then it's like we think as if like sexual assault and statutory rape is just the women, but it happens to young boys as well. Like when I say protect our kids, I don't just mean our girls, I mean like our boys as well, because women are evil as well.
There was that woman that took the 14-year-old boy from the football pitch, innit, and went home and slept with him. Did you not hear about that? Yeah, the young 14-year-old boy. Yeah.
Teachers, you hear about teachers and their students all the time. Yeah. And it's like, she was only 20.
Can I be a bit of an asshole though? To be honest, like I as a 14-year-old boy, I wouldn't have minded my teacher pulling my child out.
That, but it's still predatory behavior.
I'm just saying. As a guy, as a young man, growing up in the 90s, yeah, watching Tupac and Biggie and all of these 50 Cents in the mid 2000s, all that music about bang this, bang that, da 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 da. I'm just saying, as a man, yeah, in the era I grew up in. If I was a 14-year-old guy, yeah, and the teacher just,
toxic masculinity there.
All right, cool. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if the teacher,
I was letting him create his web so I could.
I'm owning it. I'm not saying that it's right for the female teacher to do that to me, but I had school teachers that were women that I fancied highly. So had she pulled down my trousers, yeah, I'd have went and told the man them, yo. Man did my thing and I'd have been getting ratings. I just agree with that stuff when it's done to girls.
Toxic masculinity, that's all I can say because it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Cool. It is.
like you said, like you were saying, no 14-year-old should be sleeping with a 24-year-old.
Yeah,
It shouldn't
no
be
doubt.
happening. Period. It should not be happening. So as far as I'm concerned, the same way a 14-year-old girl cannot understand the manipulation of a 24-year-old man, a 14-year-old boy who thinks he's in it because, oh, she's attractive and she looks like the girls on the music videos, yay, he's still going to be manipulated the same way. The exact same way. So just because like, okay, as if the act of that sex with that 10-year gap is not bad enough, she could then be manipulating you on a complete different level. I'm going to tell your parents, I'm going to tell the head teacher, and you're going to get in trouble unless you eat my nani. You don't know what could have been happening. I know that was really extreme. Sorry, guys, it is morning. We have to address it. We have to address the whole part of it, because even if it's like for you, you don't see the fact that that's toxic masculinity. You don't actually see that why it's wrong for men. And
I acknowledge that it's wrong. I'm just saying that had it happened to me, I just wouldn't have been upset. As a grown man at 32, I understand that it's wrong, and I do not condone. Yeah,
you know what? You would have been upset when you didn't realize the burn or the itch on your little tiny dingaling when you was 14, and then you got to 24 and realized you can't have children because you caught some kind of STI, STD from this woman.
That's true. That's true.
Along with however many boys in your school, you'd be sitting there feeling furious. Not only would you be feeling furious, but you'd be feeling like a fool. You'd be feeling hurt. You'd be feeling violated is the real word for that.
But I mean, if I didn't get STI and I banged my school teacher, but I understand it's wrong.
So
I understand it's wrong now, as a grown man now. But when I was in secondary school, at 14, and if my school teacher that I fancied came to me and pulled my trousers down, boy, I'm just saying.
Yeah, Natasha, I agree.
You become when you realize the teacher wrong and taking advantage of children, repercussions. Yeah. I agree now it's wrong, because do you know what as well though? I just thought, anyway, I look at it now, I know it's wrong, but I'm just saying at the time, if it happened to me
when you were younger, I understand that there is this kind of I don't know what it is, narrative of boys having sex with older women. Like you said, Niti, when you ask guys, how did they lose their virginity, it's mainly
the girl was older than me.
And I think it's always like, I remember boys in my school being like, oh, you can't get an older woman. Do you know what I mean? And it was almost like a challenge.
Yeah, man.
But say that these women cannot be predators the same way men can be predators.
Of course they can.
And I just think it's disgusting. We need to protect our children and our young people. And we need to be really, really vigilant. Really, really vigilant. Because I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, she was in year 11 and I was nowhere near year 11, bro.
That's right. But we need to also have, like, coming from African background, our parents don't talk to us about sex. Or
what? That's a crazy taboo still. I agree.
Need to be had. God willing, when I have kids, like I want them to be able to come to me and talk to me about sex. Because when it's always like sex is wrong, sex is the devil, don't have sex or you'll die. You don't know how to maneuver, to be quite honest. So a lot of kids are scared to talk to their parents about sex. So
we have to embrace these conversations, and even so more now that things like this are coming into play, slowly but surely creeping their way in. It's like we have to have these conversations with our young people and our children. Like my daughter is 7, and I'm at that point where I'm like, how do I introduce these conversations with a 7-year-old? Like, no, I'm not going to start talking straight away about sex and all of that kind of stuff. But actually, I want her to understand that it's okay to know yourself. It's okay to understand yourself. But I want her to understand that it's not okay for, at your age, for other people to want to get to know that part of you, or to be intimate with you, or want to see that part of you, or want to share that part. Right now, it's yours, and it's yours alone until you get to an age where you can then share that with somebody. And I feel like this age is important. Like it is important for our children to grow up not being like confused, or I just begin to think of all the things that could go wrong, and it just frightens me. It just frightens me.
It's definitely a mad thing. I'm not gonna sit and be like it's not a mad thing.
This is why I'm 31 and I still don't have kids. It's terrifying.
I think the
'Cause it's
bill.
like,
Sorry, go on.
yeah. No, I was just like responding to Charlie. It's like, this is why I'm 31 and I don't have kids yet, because I'm terrified. Because it's like you bring them to this world and then it's like you want to protect them from everything, but the world is mad. Like,
Well, don't
same
give
way
them a birth
parents
certificate.
protect us from everything. Like, how do I like put them in bubble wrap forever? And that's my fear. It's like I really want to put them in bubble wrap and like
You
protect
just
them.
have to give them the shield, the armor, and the sword to go forth with. You need to give them the tools. You know, and that's the issue. We can't wrap them up in cotton wool. We're not even. They have to go through a schooling and education system where they're taken right out of our hands. So therefore, we have to just equip them to be able to deal with life without us. I bought my son his of condoms because he was given in what?
He was given it the big one, but turned into the embarrassed 14-year-old he really is.
Oh, that's it. Oh, thank you, Tash. I feel like you're my friend. But yeah, it's difficult, and there's no rule book into being a parent. Like there isn't, and we just need to protect these children. That's what we need to do.
Definitely protect them from the vellies and that.
Gosh.
But yeah, I don't agree with this bill, man. This bill seems a bit nuts.
Yeah. Parts of it, like when it comes to like, say you're 17-year-old and you turn 18 and then you're with a partner, that's the only part where I'm like, okay, that's what they're doing. But then when you look at the 10-year rule and you're just like, that's not okay.
That's not
no. Yeah. So
I mean, 17 to 19-year-olds, like, I know a lot of people are unpopular with that, but for me, I don't see that as an issue.
I said 17
because they're both teenagers. So I know your body rapidly changes between 17 and 19, but you know, I'm guessing it would be the 19-year-old boy with a 17-year-old girl. Women do tend to mature. I mean, as long as you're not looking like T Zandos out here, you know what I mean, and you're looking like a proper woman, then yeah, cool.
I think it's a lot to do with the mentality. It does, for me.
I know, but even like there's some very mature teenage. Ooh, sorry guys.
It's alright.
My light sensor. I haven't moved for longer than 20 minutes, so.
All lights are falling off. Did you see my lights go as well?
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
Yeah, no, T Zandos looks really young, so that's scary because she does look like a baby in the face, and she's petite. So, and he's big, and he's
Trust
really
me.
like.
Yeah. So
like
just imagine that happening. Imagine that happening a million times now. That's gonna happen once this Senate 145 bill is properly passed, as they're saying it has been. That's going to be a natural occurrence for the rest of our lives going forward, and there's going to be no sex offenders list. There's going to be no repercussions towards the human being that's potentially having sex with a minor. And now, you know, me as a father, you know, God forbid my daughter could be 17 and walking in with a 25-year-old man, and legally, I may do time for punching up this guy for telling him to leave my daughter alone.
Before he gets time for being an underage minor.
Well, he won't get it because it's within the age limits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, peak, but Zando definitely looks like she's 15-year-old. Slim brother, no offense on her appearance. The way,
So, yeah,
but then, I mean, with that whole situation, we're not gonna go around the world.
Yeah, we've spoken about that one, man. I don't really want to go into that discussion topic again.
But it's not even just T Zandos, because it was the was it the granddaughter or the niece?
Yeah. It's all long. It's all long. That topic there is long. We've killed that topic.
We're definitely younger than.
Check out our previous videos. about Dachavelli and T Zandos and see what we think on that scenario there. But I think what's more important is the fact that this is gonna happen again and again and again now. You know, this is not
Can we
gonna
just
be.
post this last comment here from Natasha?
Yeah, the reason why is because everyone's too scared of COVID. Everyone's look, I didn't even know about this bill until you guys came up and actually told me about it. And and Charlie had heard about it.
But then also, like, it's the publicity that it does not get, that these other things are getting. That doesn't make sense to me. This is why I don't like to watch mainstream news, because I will sit down in my house, be watching things about, people being murdered by police, or people's not being
Oh,
allowed gay rights.
bombs in Afghanistan, fam.
On my TV, the news will be talking about a dog fell down a well. Okay. Relevance, please. Relevance to my life. I'm not a dog hater, but let's be real. I want to know about the people. I want to know. And actually, did you know there was a small period of time during, I think it was the end of October, like the beginning of September. No, the end of August to the beginning of September. There was a small period of time where the government actually gave us the right to fight against the vaccine, but it never got publicity. So nobody signed the petition against it because it wasn't publicized.
I didn't know about that.
Small piece of time. So when they brought in the law that local authorities can now give the vaccine, so obviously your local authorities obviously includes the police, and let's just be blunt and straightforward, the police can now give vaccines. When they said they were going to legalize it, although at that time it didn't have a license, which now they do for some bogus hocus pocus reason they have now. But when they didn't have it, the license for it, they brought out a law that they can now give out unlicensed vaccines. They also brought out another law that there is nobody to take fault or blame, because the companies themselves are free from blame. The people who give it to you are free from blame. So the only blame you have is yourself. Now, if this becomes mandatory, how on earth can this be our own problem? All of these little things they brush under the carpet, and yes, we gave them an option to opt out. We actually gave them an option to share their views, but really, where? Because on the news, when it's time for us to vote, it's everywhere. You can't get rid of it. You cannot get rid of it. It's on every talk show, it's on every news, it's on the buses, it's everywhere. But when it comes to things like this, they just want to quietly skirt that under the carpet. All of a sudden, things are bumpy and we're falling off. It's too much.
Mad thing.
Wow.
Yeah, no. We've heard about it, everything we heard about COVID, but I didn't know that they can just dispose of bodies. Like, that's actually very mad.
Wow.
So, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. Give us your views on this topic in the comment section if you haven't been able to watch this live.
Yes.
Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you're thinking. You've been here with Miss Nisi, Miss Charlie, and your favorite Ugandan in the United Kingdom. So, guys,
don't forget DB Cooper, who actually put us onto this topic.
Yeah, shout out DB Cooper.
My new friend Natasha. Thank you guys for your comments and input into today's conversation. So yeah,
we will be back on Monday as scheduled, but I do have a sneaky interview tomorrow, so I don't know if Charlie and Lisa are going to be available, but it's for someone from America. So if they're about, they will join me tomorrow. If not, these two lovely ladies will be back as scheduled on Monday.
All right.
Peace.